Welcome to Money and Freedom, the podcast about becoming financially free and building wealth for generations using stock market investing. Welcome back to the podcast. In this podcast, we're going to talk about what happened at the annual Buffett meeting in Omaha, the annual Berkshire Hathaway meeting. I'm going to give you 7 points. One is major news. You probably already heard Buffett is retiring. What's going to happen? What are the consequences? I'm going to give you some points about how does he look at the market right now and some tips for investing that he gave us, and 2 points about how to live a better life. Let's roll. Okay, so first point, very important. Warren Buffett, at the age of 94, is retiring. That is big news. And it's both upsetting and, it's basically very upsetting. But the man is 94. He's lived a long life. Now he's really going to go out there and live his second part of his life, right? He's going to be rocking it. Anyway, what does this mean for us? The biggest thing that it means is that we are losing a beaming light. We are losing the one we can look up to. And somebody told me, calm down, Barney, he's not dead. No, he's not dead, but he's 94, he's retiring. A man who's 94 doesn't retire unless he can see the end of the tunnel or whatever, unless he can see the tunnel or the light or whatever you want to call it. The point being, there are probably not a lot of years left. I mean, you don't have to be an oracle to guess this. And he referred to it in a lot of ways as well. So that's very sad. It's a very clever move to resign this way because it gives a smooth transition. No one's going to be in shock. And both Greg Abel, who's going to be his successor as the CEO, and his family will be able to handle this transition without being in the middle of grief. So it's super smart. It's the way to do it. Who is it that will follow him? Well, technically, like I just said, it's Greg Abel. And what does that mean? Is Berkshire Hathaway still going to be a good investment? Warren Buffett will have thought a lot about who would be his successor. This is not just some random guy that he chose. For sure, Greg Abel will be such an excellent choice. I'm very sure about this. But he's not Warren Buffett. So this means that Berkshire Hathaway will, they will continue to prosper. He will make good decisions. I'm very sure of this. Also, Berkshire Hathaway already has all the assets in place. It's a big machine that is already set up. It's going to be fine. I'm not too worried about that. Like I just said before, what really worries me is who are we going to ask these questions to? Every year, so many investors flock to Omaha to ask questions about investing and life and all kinds of weird things. Who are we going to ask the questions to? That's what worries me the most. I don't have the answer right now, but I will try to look for the answer. Who are we going to look up to in the future? And I will I have an idea for whom to invite on the podcast to figure out where we're going to go next. What's going to be the next Omaha? Somebody's going to have to take on that role. But luckily, he's still here with us. He'll probably give some interviews, and it's going to be fine. And the legacy that he's leaving us will live on forever. So some of the things that he has taught us is, overall, it's how to be a good investor. And anybody can follow this path. The path is there. He's done an amazing job of being our teacher. And what he's been teaching us is, first of all, think long term. Don't get freaked out about short-term cycle stuff. Think long term. Think 10 or even 20 years into the future as an investor. Look at the value of the company, not just the price. What does that mean? What's the difference between value and price? I mention this often on the podcast because it's an important point. Well, the price is the stock price. The value is what's inside of the company. So you have to keep a focus on how's the company doing. Not just that funny price that moves around up and down and sideways and whatever, forget about the price. The price is only important when you want to invest. Then you compare the value of the company. You can figure out what a company is worth to almost the exact amount, even though you should treat it like throwing mud on the wall. Like it's an approximation. But you have to figure out what is the company worth. And that's the only time when you want to invest, like figure out, is the value, what level is it at compared with the current stock price? So when the stock price falls below what the company is worth, that's when you want to invest. Easy peasy. And think like an owner. Think with pride in investing. Is this something that you want tattooed on your back? Do you really like this company? How do you see the future of this company? Think as if you were buying the whole thing. That makes you act in a more responsible way compared to people who are just looking at the stock prices going up and down. And also, detach yourself from the emotional reaction of the market. Meaning, this is a very famous quote, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. He said some other things that could become future quotes. He said, we make our best deals when people are most pessimistic. Great quote. That was from this year's meeting. And he said that, the best time to invest was after the crash in 1929, but he was just a baby at that time. And he said, what a shame I wasn't focused on that. I was probably worried about the baby in the next crib. Really funny. He's so funny. He will always, this is the way he works. He will give a really important point and then he will give you a joke. I mean, I will miss that so much. He also said that if Berkshire went down 50%, he would consider it an opportunity. It wouldn't bother him the least. Saying that he doesn't get fearful about stock market movements. And he said, well, I will be frightened about a lot of other things in life, but not that. And that's an important lesson to take with us. So a goodbye to Warren Buffett. Not a complete goodbye yet, but goodbye to him as the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, that's the technical thing, but as the person we can go to and ask all these wonderful questions. That was the first point. The second point is we are not in a major crash right now. And at the moment of speaking, we have all the volatility because of the tariff talks, and people have been freaking out. He would not be resigning right now, I think, if this was a major crash like 1929 or the financial crisis. I mean, he is resigning from the end of the year, but I think he would have probably pushed it another year if he saw it as a big thing. And he also talks about it pretty directly. He says, this is not a huge move. This is nothing like a dramatic bear market or anything of the sort. Okay, so, so that's sorted, kind of. He also said, calm down. He said it in different words, but he was like, calm down, guys. This is not a big thing. What he did say, I can quote him here, is if it makes a difference to you whether stocks are down 15% or not, you need to get a somewhat different investment philosophy because the world is not going to adapt to you. You're going to have to adapt to the world. Yeah, there are probably a lot of people out there who are a little bit like almost ashamed, like, okay, maybe I overreacted, because people did overreact. And that is what happens. I heard this other thing that I thought was really interesting. This is not from the meeting itself. Someone said that weather forecast shows are not into the business of forecasting the weather. They are into the business of entertaining because they want as many viewers as possible. And I thought, wow, that's actually really interesting. That means that they will exaggerate whatever has happened. They will talk about the storm of the century, the hurricane coming, watch out, all the dangers of the weather, because that is what will keep people tuning into the weather forecast. It's a little bit the same. I mean, it's a lot the same on the market with the news. You will hear people predicting the storm of the century on the market, on the stock market, again and again and again, because news outlets are into the business of clicks. Isn't that interesting to think about? I thought it was really interesting. Warren Buffett talked about 1929, when he was a baby, worrying about being jealous of the other baby in the other crib. And he said, in more technical terms, he said it fell 89%, almost 90%. The stock market fell almost 90%. So this is nothing. Really, it's nothing. And that, that's why we come there. It's to be reminded of these things, like, calm down. He is the voice of reason in a world of a lot of craziness, tariff talks and wars and drama and tweets. He is the voice of reason, and we will miss that voice. Third point, he talked a bit about the trade war. He said it's a stupid thing to do. That's not a quote, but that's basically what he meant. He talked about how we have a world where nations have nuclear weapons, and some of these nation states are not led by a stable government or leadership. For example, North Korea. And he said, if you criticize his haircut, who knows what he might do? And why should North Korea have nuclear weapons? It's not a good thing, but they're not going away. In a world like that, you shouldn't treat trade like a weapon. It's dangerous. He didn't use the word dangerous, but that's what he said. He also said there's no reason to, strive for what's happening right now, because the US is doing really well. He said, we have become an incredible, important country starting from nothing 250 years ago. Trade shouldn't be treated as a weapon of revenge. If the US is a country that has done really, really well, so having this attitude of revenge and look at us, it's not a healthy thing, towards other nations that are not doing that well. He said, the more prosperity in the world, the safer it will feel. Our children will feel that too. And that is true. Now we're getting into more specific advice as to how to invest. He never gives really specific advice. He'll never tell you, buy that stock or do this. But he will give you the concept. He will give you the framework of investing. So one person from China asked about real estate market versus stocks. And that was really interesting, I thought. He basically said that it is so much easier to invest in the stock market. Real estate is complicated, and he has done a lot of real estate trades as well. He said, here's comes a specific quote, in respect to real estate, it's so much harder than stocks in terms of negotiating deals, time spent, and the involvement of multiple parties in the ownership. Usually when real estate gets in trouble, you'll find that you're dealing with more than just the equity holder. So it will take time, you spend more time, you have to negotiate, and you'll often find that you're just about to sign and there comes the next layer of negotiations. He also said, in real estate, when you make a deal with a distressed lender, when you sign a deal, that's just the beginning. Then people start negotiating more things, and it's a whole different game with a different type of person who enjoys the game. So I thought, what I concluded was, I'm just going to stick to stocks. Stocks is easy. You can sit at your kitchen counter with your laptop and easily buy stocks. It's done in not even 5 minutes. It's done in 30 seconds, the actual buying of it. You don't have to negotiate with anybody. It's a huge auction with a lot of people. Super simple. And the important thing for someone like me, as you probably know, if you've been listening into the podcast, I'm a solo mom. I have 2 boys I'm alone with because I got them with fertility treatment and a donor. So I really am alone with them. And I live in a different country than the country of my birth and family. So I don't even have the network around me. So I'm really alone with these two boys that are now, one just turned 9 and the other is still 11. So they still need me. If I was doing real estate, I would have to, physically get out of the house. They're getting bigger, but, I've been investing since they were babies. And physically getting out of the house, then they get sick, then there's the holidays and the whatever, and the school has another school holiday, all this stuff. I really like investing in a way that I can do it even if my kids are in the house. I can't always leave the house. And, what I really love about stock market investing is that it's a level playing field. Anyone can do it, and you can do it from home. The stock market doesn't care if you have small babies. The stock market doesn't care if you're a woman or a man. The stock market doesn't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish. The stock market doesn't care if you're white, brown, black, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a completely level playing field. Isn't that great? Next point was about thinking fast and slow, or acting fast and slow. Here's a great quote. So patience is a combination of patience and willingness to do something that afternoon if it comes to it. You don't want to be patient about acting on deals that make sense. You don't want to be patient with people talking to you about things that will never happen. I love that quote. There's an important point here. And I've really felt this in my life as an investor and as a teacher, because I teach people how to invest like a great value investor. And the point is, yes, you have to be willing to buy that stock when it drops, but you have to prepare. You have to do your research. So what does it mean? It means you can't just wait for the stock to drop, or a huge stock market drop in general, like a crash. I have a lot of people who will tell me, yeah, I'm not going to take your course now. The market is in bubble territory. I'll just wait until it crashes. Well, my friend, it will be too late, because you have to prepare. And I'm very sure of this because I tried it. In 2020, I was already running the business of teaching people how to invest. And there was a student that came to me, and I had talked to that student before, and he had said exactly that. I will wait until it crashes. Well, 2020 came, and there was quite a huge drop very fast. And he came into the course. Already in week 1, he was frustrated because he didn't know what to invest in. Like, he expected me to teach him in a few days how to invest. My course is 8 weeks. And that's just how it is. It takes a while to figure out how to calculate things, how to take a company through a checklist, and find the companies and analyze the companies. And be sure that these are the companies you want to invest in. And he didn't get invested in 2020. He was super frustrated because what happened in 2020 with the lockdowns, Corona lockdowns, COVID lockdowns, was that the stock dropped really fast and went up really fast. It looked like a V symbol. And so he missed it, basically. And I would say that was not my fault. I don't tell people exactly what to invest in, not on the courses at least, because I want you to learn how to invest. What you need to do is you need to research companies even when they are not even within reach, price-wise, when the price is way over the valuation of the company. But someday it probably will get there because things happened. The market is super volatile. You need to collect wonderful companies and keep a wish list of companies that you want to invest in so you can act really fast when it happens. My best investment, and this is actually something that Warren Buffett referred to too, he said that the Apple management had made him more money than he had done himself over all the years, something like that. That's not a correct quote. But the Apple investment was so important for Warren Buffett. He stressed that several times. And in 2018 and early 2019, I invested in Apple. And I knew I wanted to invest in Apple. Warren Buffett was actively investing in Apple at the time, and I was keeping an eye on it, and I knew exactly what price I wanted to invest in. Now, what happened was that on Christmas Day 2018, this stock dropped. And it's a half market day in the US. And that means that by the time, and I had really small kids at that time, the youngest is born in 2016, so he was 2. And so I'm here at this Christmas evening dinner. That's how we do it in Denmark. We celebrate Christmas in the evening. And so I discovered, oh my God, Apple's dropping. Because evening our time is, it was half a trading day, so it was when the market was open in the US. And so I escaped from presents and whatever, and I went into the bathroom, locked myself in, and took out my phone and tried to buy Apple stocks, and it was like, market was volatile, it was a little bit difficult. And then I had my 2 kids that were like 2 and 5, banging on the door. Mommy, come out, what are you doing? They were really excited about, everything that happens on Christmas. So, and I remember thinking in that moment, I will never do this again. I mean, I was prepared, but I couldn't act fast because I was in the middle of a situation, and I missed it. And I decided to change my strategy a little bit and buy shares in a different way, set it up in an automatic way. And I did get them in January 2019. And that has been a big part of why I have done so well. Thank you very much, Apple. The point here is I only knew to do that because I was prepared. I knew I wanted Apple. So technically, I couldn't act very fast because I had small children and I was a little bit panicking behind a locked door in the bathroom. But I know how to do that now. And the point being, of course, I've said it several times, prepare, research, and then act fast when the stock drops. That was fast and slow thinking and fast and slow reacting. I think this is a topic we should dive into more, the idea of thinking fast and slow. There's a really excellent book that I want to dive into at some point. We'll get to that. Okay, point number 6. This is really about how to live life. And he is asked about how to have a good career, how to live a good life every year. And it's typically a very young person from China that will ask these questions. So people come to Warren Buffett, not just for how to invest, but how to live a great life. And if you think about it, that is so beautiful. He's 94 and he's one of the elders on the town square. I mean, I love this idea that we go to them for advice. Why don't we do that more often in our culture? And when I say our culture, I mean probably Denmark. I do live in Portugal. But the idea of really respecting older people for the experience that they have. And of course, you shouldn't respect every old person. It has to be someone who has lived a great life. But with so many years, they have accumulated some experiences and some wisdom. He definitely has. So he says, and this is one of the tricks he has for, it's both a career advice and a live a great life advice. He says, you should choose friends who are better than you because you will move in their direction. He said it over and over again. But when you think about it, it is such a great little nugget. And I was thinking afterwards, but how? I mean, how do you do this? And I think every year he says something to the likes of this, and every year I'm like, what does this mean? Am I gonna drop my family and my friends because they're not good enough? I mean, how do you actually do this? I don't really have the answer right now, but I do think I know how to get it. I had this blueprint made for me by a really, really excellent coach. He's called Jack Skeen. Jack Skeen is kind of famous because he also coached to famous gurus. And gurus, what do I mean when I say gurus? I mean famous value investors. So he has coached Monish Pabrai and Guy Spears and changed the trajectory of their lives. And when I got my blueprint made, and, I occasionally talk to him. If there's something I find to be difficult, I will, I'll have another coaching session with him. And he said one time, he said, well, Bailey, you're so good at finding great investments. You have this checklist and this whole process set up. You're really discerning when it comes to that. You should do the same with people in your life. And I thought that was great advice. I think about it often, and I still haven't really found the exact way to do it, because you can't just take an investment checklist and say, oh, they have to make money, there has to be growth, there has to be great leadership. It's not the same thing. So what are the things that needs to be on the checklist of finding these friends and leaders in your life? We will get back to that soon in a podcast to come. I already have that interview scheduled. Point number 7. Someone asked him, also someone from China, I believe, how do you deal with setbacks in life? Warren Buffett said, well, it's part of a lived life. Everybody has setbacks. He said, Charlie had setbacks, I've had setbacks, it's part of life. And that's really, really true if you think about it, especially Charlie. Charlie Munger, who was his partner and longtime friend, who is now dead, he said, he experienced some really, really difficult years when he was a young man. His child, Teddy, had leukemia and was sick for a long time in the hospital and died. I don't think if there's anything more horrible than that, losing a young child. I can't think of anything. But more happened. He got divorced. And he lost the custody of the other 2 children and his savings and the house that they had lived in. So he was basically pretty broke and very lonely and completely heartbroken. And he has said that he walked the streets crying in the evening. He was just walking around the streets crying. But he didn't give up. He was determined to get remarried, have more children, and to learn to invest like Warren Buffett. And he built a fortune. He built a huge family. I believe they had 4 children together. And she had some children, and then he had some children. They built a huge family. There were children running around that house. Warren Buffett says, we all get bad bricks, but we keep on building. I love that. And it's true. It happens to all of us. We've all experienced something. I mean, we all lose someone at some point. If no one else, then our parents. And that's pretty tough too. I've tried that. I lost my father when I was 15, and I loved him really dearly. And those years, when you're an adolescent, those are really tender years. And, that's a lifelong grief. You can even hear it in my voice. I'm not going to cry, I promise. I still miss him to this day. I'm not going to cry. I promise. I'm just about to cry, but I won't. And we all experience losing our parents, and that's tough. Then we experience other things, losing other people that we love. That's tough too, but you keep on going. Those kind of, wisdom and just the tone of the way he says these things is like, calm down. This is part of life. This is part of investing. 15% is not a lot. Yes, we all experience something, getting fired, losing someone, being sick, something, all of us. Keep on going. That's the main advice. Just stay calm, keep on going. And I really, really love that. Well, thanks to Warren Buffett for being there for us for so many years. I will really, really miss it. And I'm so sad I didn't go to Omaha this year. That's it for the podcast today. If you had something you really learned from Warren Buffett, I'd love to hear from you. What's the most important thing that you learned? You can write to me on X or LinkedIn. My handle is my first name, Beile, on both LinkedIn and Twitter, or X as it's called today. I'd really love to hear from you. Or if it's possible, if you're watching from YouTube, you can even comment under the video. Thanks for listening today. If you enjoyed the podcast, please remember to subscribe. Please also remember to share it with a friend. And lastly, please review it on your favorite podcast platform. This really helps the podcast grow. And I would love to hear from you. Thanks.